previously the EVP of Dover Energy, and now the President and CEO. Please help me welcome Soma.
Wow, I got to be careful now, yeah. So, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Now, those are the words of Eleanor Roosevelt. Imagine a world where there are no accidents. Imagine a world where there is no fraud. Imagine a world where drugs have no side effects. Imagine a world where the offshore platforms can operate autonomously. Even imagine a world where Texans are winning Super Bowls. Is that possible? I would say yes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the future. My name is Soma Somasundaram. I'm delighted to be here to share with you some of my thoughts around IIoT and artificial intelligence. IIoT, as we know it, brings about convergence in any ecosystem of connecting devices, machines, people, environment, with an idea of eliminating waste and driving productivity. And IIoT enabled by artificial intelligence, to me, is arguably the most important future technologies that can transform the way people live and work, the way the businesses operate, and the way countries grow. It will open a new era of economic opportunities. Now, the question of artificial intelligence has been around for a long time. Early in the 1990s, I went to graduate school in University of Oklahoma. Go Sooners. I have to be quiet about that, right? I'm in Longhorn country. At the same time, I had a roommate who was doing his graduate program in computer science. Remember, this is early 90s. And I remember him doing a thesis. And the title of the thesis was The Analysis of Upper Bound Invariant Model for Learning-Bound CNF Expressions. That's the true title of his thesis. I had no idea what that meant. Right? No clue. So I asked him, what is that? So he said, look, Soma, it's about teaching machines how to learn, But don't worry about it, nobody uses it. He graduated from top of his class, went on to work for Microsoft, and today he's a founder of a fintech company that uses the type of things we are talking about, machine learning, deep learning models, to predict the performance of companies, and more importantly, predict the stock price performance in the future. Imagine that. So he's the guy who told me 25 years ago, don't worry, nobody uses it, So the question is, can machines learn the way people do? Can machines do everything humans can do? Will machines replace humans? That's a raging debate about it. Is it going to replace humans in the workforce? And there are even people who worry that machines are going to take over the world. I have an optimistic view of the future. I believe the adoption of IIoT and artificial intelligence will enable significant progress in the society. For me, the question is not one of which intelligence will prevail. Is it human intelligence or is it artificial intelligence? That's not the question. To me, the question is the power of bringing together the human and artificial intelligence into what I call it a collaborative intelligence that unlocks extraordinary possibilities. And we are seeing that today. A recent study done on interpreting radiological images looking for cancerous lymph nodes, people observed that machines can process this at rates only humans can dream of. They said, look, machines can process these images in one day where it will take a whole lifetime for humans to process. These are complicated images where you have to interpret and diagnose what's going on. But here's the thing, the error rate in humans was 3.5%. The error rate in machines was 7.5%. But the amazing thing is, when you bring them together, the error rate was 0.5%. That is the power of collaborative intelligence. Now, we see that in our own company. We have a predictive diagnostic tool that can predict the health of a machinery. And having deep domain expertise in that area, we believe that we know all the forms of failures that can happen in that machine. Until we started applying machine learning and artificial intelligence model. Actually, we worked with SparkCognition on that. And what it opened up was failure modes we were not aware of. So imagine the productivity to our customers when we can avoid failure modes. So I do believe the adoption of IIoT enabled by artificial intelligence will bring about enormous progress in industries. I work in the oil and gas industries. So let's talk a little bit about the oil and gas industry. Oil and gas industry provides an enormous source of energy to the world. Many of you may be aware of it. Even in the year 2035, 2040, oil and gas will continue to provide almost 50% of the world's energy. But the industry has gone through a tremendous revolution, especially being in Texas. Many of you have heard of the term shale. Shale revolution is all around us. And what has shale done is brought about a tremendous amount of supply, which previously people thought it's not possible to produce economically. You may remember in the early 2000s, we were building import terminals for liquefied natural gas throughout the Gulf Coast, because we were very worried that we are not going to have enough natural gas in this country. Today, we are actively converting them all into export terminals because we have so much natural gas in this country. And today, we are exporting natural gas. Not just exporting natural gas. Today, we export almost 1 million barrels a day of oil. So the technology has changed the landscape of this industry. Now, it came with a cost. Many of you may be aware the last 2 decades has been, last 2 years has been a significant downturn in the industry. But the industry is recovering from it. So as the industry is recovering from it, there are some trends that are shaping the industry. I want to talk about a few of those. The idea of lower for longer simply refers to the oil price is going to stay lower for a long period of time. The historical prices of $100 oil are probably permanently in our rear view mirror. You can never say never, but the likelihood of it happening is very, very low. So our customers, which are the producers of oil and gas, which are our customers, are relentlessly focused on reducing the cost per barrel. For them, it's all about reducing the cost per barrel. That's the only way they can drive economic returns. Downtime is incredibly expensive for our customers. Reliability is paramount. So they are constantly looking and seeking for technologies that drives the cost per barrel down. Profitability is purely an outcome of productivity for our customers. Simply put, value for our customers is producing efficient volume. So if we can produce volume efficiently, that is value. Now, technology is key to producing efficient volume. Technology in oil and gas is now bringing together, the adoption of IIoT is bringing together various information that helps our customers precisely characterize what the reservoir looks like, to precisely drill where to drill to produce that efficient volume, where do you frack in an environmentally sensitive manner, and most of all, over the life cycle of the well, which could be 30, 40 years, how do you continue to produce the well more efficiently? So technology drives convergence, and convergence drives productivity. Let me bring this to life by a simple example of what we do. Most of you probably recognize a well site. If you drive around, obviously, in Texas, you cannot miss one, right? So in a well site, you typically have a producing well, which produces oil or gas. But there are other critical processes that goes on in a well site. There is typically a chemical injection process that injects chemicals into the wells on a periodic basis to make sure that the wells don't corrode or freeze or other purposes. There is typically a separation process at the well site, so when the oil or gas comes out of the well, potentially can contain moisture, or oil is produced with gas, so that has to go through a separation process. There is typically a compression process to maintain pressure. There are some tank batteries that are there to store oil, gas, water, whatever. Now, all of this has to work together to produce that efficient volume. Now, today, in many of these well sites, some of these processes are monitored independently, and some of these processes are not monitored. So imagine the possibility of driving productivity if we can converge the data, information, the knowledge of this together to bring to the desk of the production engineer how to optimize the complete well site and not just unit processes. So we have introduced an IIoT solution to our customers. With our deep domain expertise and with the machine learning and artificial intelligence models which we work with SparkCognition, which is transforming the ability for a production engineer to sit at their desk and be able to optimize and produce efficient volume. Now, that is the power of convergence, and technology enables convergence, and convergence drives productivity. So I believe oil and gas industry is primed, given the trends reshaping the industry, that IIoT, the adoption of IIoT, will drive enormous productivity in the industry. Now, every progress comes with its own challenges, right? Now, what are the challenges in adopting IIoT? There are many in oil and gas industry. progress always comes, it's never a straight path. So I want to talk to you about few. The first and foremost is ability to articulate a tangible economic value. We talked about lower price for long periods of time, right? Now, while a consumer may be willing to stand in line to pay $1,000 for a smartphone because they want to have the latest or it's the cool thing to have, our customers won't pay for the cool factors. They will pay only when there is an economic value to it. So that's the number one, in my opinion, is the adoption challenge, is for companies like us to bring forth a tangible economic value to the customers so they can see how that's going to help, right? Infrastructure continues to be an issue, and it's only a matter of time before that develops because a lot of these sites are in places where there is not a reliable communication. There are communication, but whether it's reliable communication, sufficient communication, right? So we all know communication is the backbone of IIoT. So that's just a matter of time. And the last one I want to touch on is what I call the trust. Trust being trusting the system on its what it provides us information and what it provides us insights. Security plays a big part of this. With all the things that are happening around us, customers are always somewhat skeptical about, can I trust the system? Is it secure enough? And again, like in any new technology adoption, these are normal challenges we face, but we have to consciously keep that in mind to drive more and more adoption. So I personally believe the adoption of IIoT, not just in oil and gas, across the industries, will drive enormous productivity. I want to finish up by bringing something more personal. So I have an 11-year-old daughter, and she aspires to be a scientist. So, like many children in that age group, she's constantly dreaming of the possibilities. So when she was 7 years old, she wrote what is called a Mina's invention list, her top 10 invention list. And as you can see some of the items on the list, right? A transporter, a time machine, a transformer, a cure for Ebola. You remember the time Ebola was that's the time she wrote the list. Another fuel, flying cars, a pill that can let you eat whatever you want. How cool is that? Yeah. A chemical that makes people immortal. And my personal favorite, a type of cloud that will be sturdy enough so cities can be built on it. So that's our invention list. So I'm confident. Remember, future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. But I'm confident many of these inventions will come to fruition because of the developments in IIoT, machine learning, artificial intelligence. And we are seeing some of these in progress already, right? So human intelligence has enormous potential. The ability to dream, the ability to perceive, the ability to conceptualize, think of possibilities. Combining that with the power of an artificial intelligence can provide significant benefits to the society. As Gandhi once said, the difference between what we do and what we are capable of doing would suffice to solve most of the world's problems. Thanks for listening. Appreciate your time.